Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber already, please consider clicking the subscribe button and please enable notifications so you can get instant important updates from us going forward. Now, this is interesting. What is good for Wall Street is not necessarily what is good for the stimulus. Now, here's what I mean. In the event that we have a split Congress. What I mean by that is, let's say the Democrats continue to retain control of the House, which is widely expected, and the Republicans continue to retain control of the Senate. We would have what's called as a split Congress. In other words, a Democratic House. So again, you would have House Speaker Nancy Pelosi continuing to be the House Speaker, and then you would have the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell continuing to be the Senate Majority Leader. But in the event that we have a split Congress, and we have former Vice President Joe Biden becoming the President of the United States. This, according to the BPI economist Andrew Bush, would actually be good for Wall Street, would be good for corporate earnings, but bad for stimulus. Here's why. If we have a Republican Senate, in other words, if Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell continues to remain the Senate Majority Leader, Senate Majority Leader, and here if House Speaker Pelosi continues to remain the House Speaker, hello Speaker Pelosi, if they continue to be where they are, in other words, at the top of the House and at the top of the Senate, we have a split Congress. And then if we have former Vice President Joe Biden right there becoming the President of the United States, we'll have a situation in which the corporate tax rates, which are now, which have been slashed significantly, which are low, are not going to go back up because it is a priority for a Republican-led Senate to keep corporate tax rates low and also to be fiscally conservative, in other words, not to have a good stimulus package. This is a consensus by Wall Street, and also, again, BPI economist Andrew Bush, he was actually on CNBC today, and there was a big market rally today, as you've probably seen in the stock market, and he said that the rally in the stock market was because the market was anticipating a blue wave. Now, keep in mind, a blue wave would mean that former Vice President Joe Biden becomes a president of the United States. And also the Senate is no longer a Republican-led Senate. So we switch Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, presumably let's switch him out, with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. So imagine if we have a Democratic president, a Democratic-led Senate. So again, we have former Vice President Joe Biden in the White House, and we have Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, which, by the way, is an interesting thing for me to say because I'm so used to saying Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. But now Chuck Schumer would be the Senate Majority Leader and not the Senate Minority Leader, which is what he is right now. And then House Speaker Pelosi would remain Speaker of the House. This would mean essentially that the Democrats would be able to pass a significantly large stimulus and potentially roll back some of the low corporate tax rates and also raise taxes on high-income individuals. Now, former Vice President Joe Biden has said that he will not raise taxes for those who earn less than $400,000 a year. So that's what they've said. But overall, let's take a look at this pretty interesting interview on CNBC today. Again, this featured BPI economist Andrew Bush, and he said that a split Congress is good for Wall Street, but it's bad for stimulus. Let's watch.
In particular, you've been looking at what the result of the Senate might mean for markets and for the economy. Well, what's your takeaway there?
Yeah, so let's run through a few scenarios. If Biden wins and you get a split Senate, a split Congress, and the Senate remains Republican, this may not be bad in the sense that you're not going to get any kind of corporate tax rate hike. So I want people to keep that in mind. That'll be very good for the markets. But you're also not going to get a very large stimulus package as well. So that's something that would be a negative. So you really have to balance those two things out. For investors, my guess is the corporate tax rate is much more important than a short-term stimulus plan. But that's one of the scenarios. Under a Trump victory with a split Senate or a split Congress, that's also not a bad thing. But you're just not going to get these large stimulus packages that I think the market's been hoping for.
Now, I thought the second segment of this interview was even more interesting. He was specifically asked, what does a rally today indicate? And he said that the rally today indicated that Wall Street thinks that a blue wave is coming. In other words, former Vice President Joe Biden becoming president and being in the White House, and this is important, the Senate being led by Democrats, presumably again by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, instead of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell post-election. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't predict what's going to happen, but I can tell you that, we'll have to, we'll find out pretty soon. And he suggested that if there was a win of, former Vice President Joe Biden becoming the president and, the Senate being led by Chuck Schumer, again, that would be a blue wave. And he did say that's something the market was predicting. And he also mentioned that because former Vice President Joe Biden wants to focus on clean energy, that could negatively impact energy stocks and that could even negatively impact bank stocks, because presumably banks would be subject to more regulation and more capital reserve limits and allotments and generally thresholds. In other words, they would have to have more liquidity. So let's see what Bush had to say and let's roll the tape.
So what do you think of the market's moves today? We're seeing this big rally and all the stimulus sensitive stocks are rallying. You think that's an expectation of a blue wave?
Yeah, and that's certainly something that I've been advising my clients on for, about 2 months now, is that's what I expect. I do expect a blue wave. I do expect a Biden victory. I do expect a significant win in the Senate. And they're going to need to get to about 53 to 47 for the Democrats really to be able to radically change things the way that they want. And certainly the programs that have been put forward by Biden. But if that margin of victory is only 51 to 49, I would just caution people about any kind of big progressive push, because you'll still have Joe Manchin and John Tester, who are relatively conservative Democrats, who will balance things out as far as overreach in some of those progressive policies.
Which sectors over a 4-year period, not necessarily immediately after the election result, which sectors would suffer the most if that result plays out that you expect?
Well, in the blue wave, I would say the energy sector, E&P, is going to be hurt, because clearly a Biden presidency will focus on clean energy. And he said that he's not going to ban fracking. And I believe that, because legally you can't do it. But boy, you can make it really hard to get a lease on federal lands. And that's over 40% of fracking. So keep that in mind. With low oil prices right now, maybe it doesn't matter for a little while, but that's certainly going to hurt. On the regulatory side, I would expect banks and financials to take some hits here, because you're going to see a very big push to re-regulate the banking industry, maybe increase the amount of capital that they need, and perhaps even non-bank SIFIs as well. So that's a sector I'd keep an eye on.
That's it, everybody. Let me know what you thought of this rather interesting interview. Let me know in the comments section below. You'll also find a link to the entire interview in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I really appreciate you. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. If you learned something new from this video, please click like. Please subscribe, please enable notifications. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. That would be your vote of support for us and all the effort that goes into this channel behind the scenes. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. You can get your cell phone out and send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to SMS alerts list. We will send you breaking news and alerts, and so you can get that from us. You can also, if you like, get on our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you'll get on our email list. You can opt out of the emails or the SMSs at any point in time that you want. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So definitely make sure you follow us then. If you learned something new from this video, please consider sharing this video with friends and family. And you'll always find links to our resources in the description section below. Please comment and engage with our community. Our community is growing very rapidly. And finally, once again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications so you get updates from us going forward. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.